Greetings YouTube. I'm going to introduce one of my new programs here. I've been working on a lot of projects and I have several different YouTube channels, and all these channels is a little bit too much for me. So I'm going to be trimming some of the channels and combining some of the channels and adding new material to all of my channels. So I want to introduce something new that I've been working on this year, and basically, I just wanted to call it, like the Top Story Productions, and the top news story. People like hearing about the latest news, so I want to go more along that genre and let you guys in on some of this stuff that some of you may not be aware of. Now, on this particular channel, some people know I used to be involved in multi-level marketing a long time ago, network marketing, and that's where this username came from, Joe MLM, and that became one of my unused channels after I dropped out of MLM, and some people know why, and so I'll make a separate video about that. But this particular channel was one of my unused channels. I started using it for my sports card hobby. I noticed a lot of people, there was a very large and growing community of sports card collectors on YouTube. So I had this unused channel, and I decided to use this channel just to share some of my cards and to trade, basically. Get rid of all the stuff that I didn't need. You always break a box. I busted lots of boxes, and I buy a lot of retail, and I always get stuff I don't need. And instead of selling it, it's a lot easier to trade for, something else, because everybody has cards they don't want, and they always want to get rid of them. So I started using this channel for that, and it has evolved into protecting the sports card hobby and against all the scammers out there. And, I talk to a lot of scammers. I mean, I've been investigating these people for many, many years now. I've traveled all over the country. I'm going all over the world now, literally, just investigating and communicating with other people who are also doing this. Law enforcement agencies, in particular. Too many to list here, a whole alphabet soup of letters. Well, like I said, I wanted to introduce something new, the top news story, and I wanted to call this one a top news story of 2012. It's the end of the year, and people do recaps, and my thinking was, I'll do the top story of the year. Well, like I said, this channel has become about scamming, but I just want to get away from that for a moment. Like I said, I'm going to combine some other channels into this one. So, what I am going to talk about is actually literally the top success story of 2012 in this particular episode. Now, I also want to make an amend, possibly calling it the top success story ever, because it's an incredible story, and I thought this particular story deserved a video all its own. I've mentioned this previously before. Like I said, it was a top story this year of 2012, and so I'm gonna do this video here. Now, like I said, I talk a lot about scammers. Now, this has nothing to do with scammers. Okay, like I said, this is the top success story of 2012. So, when most people talk about success, they talk about the all-powerful dollar. You have $40,000 here, a stack of money, 40,000 American dollars, and $100 bills. Some of you are familiar with the $100 bills. That's what they look like. It's the new $100 bill that came out recently. And, you know, when people talk about success nowadays, they talk about people who are making money. Now, people who are scammers are doing it for the money. They're not doing it for any other reason. Some of them, you know, like I said, when you get down to the basics, it's, you know, they're doing it for the money. Now, scammers think they're making a lot of money, when in all actuality, they're not. They're basically wasting their time. They're making a few dollars here and there, some of them. You know, very few of them are making a living scamming. No matter how you want to cut it or slice it. Like I said, you know, scammers who make $40,000, like this stack of money represents here. If you make if you're a scammer and you make $40,000 in a year, you know, you're at the top 1% of your field. But in the real world, $40,000 isn't a lot of money. And, you know, scammers risk getting arrested. They get arrested all the time. There's private investigators. There's people like me out there who are hunting scammers down. And, you know, I mean, I've done video upon video upon video of all the scammers who got arrested over and over. I mean, you know, your time, if you're a scammer, your time is numbered. Now, like I said, I actually work with scammers. I help scammers stop scamming. I helped ex-convicts who got out of prison break into different fields to make money legitimately. Because there's so many ways to make money legitimately. I mean, like I said, it makes no sense scamming. Literally, you don't make any money doing it, believe it or not. You do not make any money doing it. And you risk getting arrested when there's so much money to be made out there. I mean, it's not even funny. Now, I don't know how many millionaires you know or how many billionaires you know, but there are plenty of books on the subject. So I'm not going to bother mentioning authors or books. You know, there's so many, there's too many to list. Shelves of them on the bookstores. Find a bookstore. Go, you know, sit there. You could actually read. Some of them have nice, comfortable chairs. You could sit there and read. Used bookstores. There's still a few of them out there if you're fortunate enough to find one. You could get some really good success books for really cheap. And you can learn how to really make some money. A nice stack of $50,000. Now, believe it or not, most people in the United States don't even earn $50,000 in a year. That's a sad fact. Most of the people watching this video do not earn $50,000 in a year. And that's what you're looking at right now, a stack of $50,000 and $100 bills. Now, if you want to go back in time just a little bit, before credit cards, millionaires and, you know, rich people and, you know, billionaires, they couldn't carry $1 million in $100 bills. That's just way too much money. So some of you may not be aware that there are denominations larger than $100. This is what an actual $1,000 bill looks like. United States Federal Reserve note. It's a real $1,000 bill. That's what they looked like. So instead of carrying a whole big stack of $100 bills, this represents 10 $100 bills. So a stack of $1 million would be a lot easier to carry. But like I said, there's, you know, people were, even a long time ago, there was a few billionaires out there and people who had hundreds of millions of dollars. So the denominations actually grew larger. Here's an actual $5,000 bill that they used to carry. It's a Federal Reserve note. So this is actually $5,000. So instead of carrying 50 $100 bills, you could just carry this one bill instead. Now, like I said, this is before the time of paper money, or excuse me, the credit cards, when there was only exclusively paper money. And, you know, now $5,000 wasn't the largest bill. This is what a $10,000 United States Federal Reserve note looked like. $10,000. $1,000. I mean, people used to carry these in their wallet, people. Think about that. Now, these are no longer in circulation, but they still do exist. You can still buy these bills. But if you wanted to buy one, they are considered collector's items. People actually collect currency. I don't talk about that much on this channel, but that's a fact. People collect currency, and they also counterfeit currency. People know they counterfeit money, but they also counterfeit these large denominations. $1,000 bills are very expensive, believe it or not. It's only worth $1,000, but since they're collectible, they're highly collectible, they're worth a lot more than their face value. Now, for those of you who still didn't know, there are currencies larger than $10,000. Now, I'm going to just jump to the coup de grace here, the $100,000 bill. This one bill, people used to carry these in their wallets. Most Americans, even to this day, this bill was printed in 1934. In 1934, not that long ago, people used to walk around with these in their wallet. You know, they didn't have credit cards. So, and most people to this day, 2012 going on to 2013, do not earn $100,000. Now, you know, like I mentioned just a short while ago, millionaires, billionaires, I don't know how many millionaires you are familiar with, but most of the millionaires I know are not even high school graduates. And I don't know if you know this, but most of the billionaires out there, if you read their books, there's plenty of books about them, news stories, etc., they're not even college graduates. So, like I said, you have no excuse for what. It doesn't matter where you are in life, no matter what you're doing with yourself. This money is not going to come to you. You have to go out there and grab it. You have to go out there and chase it. You got to. I mean, it's called the American dream for a reason. People come here from all over the world for the opportunity for freedom and the opportunity to make the American dream come true. To make unlimited amounts of money. That's basically what it is. Now, like I said, scammers think they're making a lot of money. No, you're not. Period. Exclamation point. There's endless, like I said, most millionaires I know personally have not graduated high school. Most of the billionaires I know, the founder of Google, the founder of Yahoo, the founder of Facebook, all were done while they were still in college. They didn't even graduate yet. And some of them have not graduated at all. They dropped out. And they're making billions of dollars. Now, $1 million is 10 of these $100,000 bills. And that's back, like I said, these are no longer in circulation. You could actually buy one of these if you wanted, but it would cost you a pretty penny. It would cost you several $100,000 just to buy one of these notes. That's how rare they are. And here we have a stack of $1 million. These are $5,000 wrapped bundles of $100 bills. You have a mountain of $1 million. That's what $1 million looks like. In $100 bills. If that's why they make the larger denominations, because a millionaire can't carry this kind of money in his pocket. You couldn't even carry this in a backpack. You couldn't even fit this in a suitcase. It would have to be a trailer trunk. It would have to be quite large. Like they always show you in the movies, $1 million in a suitcase. You know, no, it doesn't. $1 million does not fit in a suitcase unless they use larger denominations, like I've just showed you. The reason why I'm doing this, like I said, the purpose of this video, the top success story of 2012. I previously stated, millionaires, many of them have not even finished high school. billionaires. Many of them have not finished college. I'll even mention Donald Trump. Donald Trump, he finished college. He became a billionaire. I don't know if you're familiar with his story. When he became, shortly after becoming a billionaire, Donald Trump declared bankruptcy. That's why Donald Trump became famous, believe it or not. If you don't live in New York, you didn't know Donald Trump's name until he became bankrupt. Well, let's put it this way, New York and Atlantic City, because he started building the casinos there too at that time. So, I mean, if you lived outside of the East Coast, Upper East, Northeast Coast, you did not know Donald Trump until he declared bankruptcy. He was one of the first billionaire in modern times to declare bankruptcy. Why am I mentioning Donald Trump? Because Donald Trump, after he became a billionaire, he declared bankruptcy. Just a few short years later, he was a billionaire again after declaring bankruptcy. Not only was he a billionaire again, he was a multi-billionaire. He had more billions than he started with the first time around. And he's still a billionaire to this day. And he actually wrote several books. I've read several of them, and the first few that he written, and those are pretty decent books. So, check them out if you want. Now, if you wanted to know what the top success story of this year is, let me refer you to this particular website here. This is called Crain's Chicago Business. I don't know if you're familiar with the Crain's publications. In every city in America, Crain's publishes a business magazine. Crain's Chicago Business in New York, all the big cities, you have them. And this is the Chicago edition. Now, this is actually from their website, chicagobusiness.com. I'll put the link in the description below. And it was published by Ann Moore, Crain's Chicago Business, on the 23rd of April, 2012. That's why this is the top story of the year. But I want to call this a top story, success story ever. The title of this particular story, I'm not happy with this title. But, Ann thought this was a good name. From Muggle to Media Mogul by age 25. Now, what you see here is a nice young gentleman here at his office in Chicago. I mean, if you look at that grin there, there's only one word for that grin there. Remember the look on that guy's face. I mean, a picture or like a painting, is equal to 1,000 words. I mean, that should be enough right there. Now, this is a fascinating story, and like I said, it's the top success story possibly ever. Okay, now, like it says here in the article, at age 12. Age 12. Now, on previous videos, I've often mentioned that, start a blog. You can make money with a blog. Like I said, there's so many ways to make money. It's, I could, spend hours and hours on it. But that's another reason why I wanted to share this story, because at age 12, Emerson Spartz, which is the gentleman you see here in the picture, at age 12, I don't know, I can't stop saying that, because at age 12, Emerson Spartz persuaded his parents to let him and his 10-year-old brother Dylan quit school. His parents agreed as long as the boys read widely, including 4 magazine-length bios of successful people per day, freed from their homework. The 7th grade dropout. Shortly, a moment ago, I mentioned high school dropouts and college dropouts. Well, this is a 7th grade dropout. 7th grade, people. Are you paying attention? Please clean out your ears. You know, blow your nose, you know, cover your nose and blow hard. That'll sometimes pop your ears. This kid was a 7th grade dropout. So he could turn his attention to his passion. Well, what do you think the passion of a 7th grader is? Well, at the time, it was the Harry Potter's books. So he created a blog, and it's called MuggleNet.com. Now, MuggleNet.com became the #1 Harry Potter fan site in the world. Okay? 7th grade, people. What's your excuse? You're a high school dropout, college. This kid dropped out in the 7th grade. A year later, when he should have been in 8th grade, don't forget, he persuaded his parents to drop out in 7th grade. Along with his 10-year-old brother, because, you know, to help him out, because he needed the help. A year later, he had 6 employees with 120 contributors. And none of those people knew that he was a teenager. I mean, I'm speechless. I don't know about you. This kid, in less than a year, at age 12, he had 6 employees before he turned 13. And not only did he have 6 employees, he had 120 contributors. I don't know if you remember the previous video I mentioned that, you know, you can start a blog and you're going to have people helping you out. Do you remember that part? Well, he had 120 helpers, not including the 6 employees. Not accounting the 6 people he had working for him. He had 120 people helping him out. Now, the link to this article is going to be below, because you have to read this yourself. You don't have to take my word for it. But go out there, do like this kid did, start a blog, start a website, do something with your life. It's a new year is upon us now. The Mayans were wrong. The world didn't come to an end. It's the dawn of a new age. That's what it is. The Mayans didn't say the world was coming to the end. They said that the age was coming to an end. The modern age is over. We had Web 1.0. We are now in the age of Web 2.0, and I believe Web 2.0 is about to end, and we're about to experience Web 3.0. And if you want to be a part of it, you know, you have to do something. If a 12-year-old can do it, what is your excuse? Period. You don't have to be a criminal. You don't have to be a scammer. This kid's only 25 years old now. He's worth several $1 million. He's only 25 years old now. He has 15 websites. That's all. Just 15 now. He has 160 million page views a month. Not bad. And he's 30 years, he's 25 years old now. Right now he has 30 employees, and he works out of a 4,000 square foot loft in the River North area of Chicago, which is, you know, a high rent district. So a 4,000 square foot loft costs a lot of money. And do you remember what the website was about that he started? Did he have to create anything? No, he just created a fan site about books he liked. That's even before they came out the Harry Potter movies. Even before they came out the Harry Potter movies, he made a lot of money. He became rich, people. He became a millionaire. He became a millionaire before he turned 18. I mean, he probably became a millionaire before he turned 16. He had 6 employees when he was 13, so you do the math. This is a nice long article. There's plenty, you could read here. You don't have an excuse. There is no excuse anymore. I just took it away from you. You don't have to listen to me. You don't have to listen to anybody else. You have to listen to your heart. You have to do what you want to do. You're working for a boss you don't like. Whatever your situation is, there's so many people without work. Does it look like this kid's having any trouble? He has 30 people working for him. It's time. Put those excuses away. In the business, and they have a term called the circular file. They tell you to put it in a circular file. I don't know if you're familiar with that. When somebody tells you to put it away, put it into the circular file, that usually means the garbage bin, the waste bin. That means throw it away. All your excuses go in the circular file. It's time to get rid of them. Create a blog. Some people are making a full-time income just from posting videos on YouTube. I've mentioned previously, some people have they make $100 or more a month online with their YouTube channel. Then they open up 2 or 3 channels. They start making a few $100s multiple times. If you add a blog to the mix, kick it up a notch, like the saying goes. Do something. Something is better than nothing. What are you going to do this time next year? Are you going to keep making excuses, or are you going to start making money? Are you going to do something? You're going to do the same thing over and over again? Do you know what the definition of insanity is? Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results? Look it up. See for yourself. Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. There's so many ways. Whatever your passion is, his passion was Harry Potter books. What's your passion? Setting up a website to share videos. YouTube wasn't the first website to share videos. But when Google bought YouTube from the guy who created it, college dropout, they gave him hundreds of millions of dollars. Look up the history of YouTube. What did you do a few years ago before there was a YouTube? He just wanted to share videos and do it a little bit different than the other websites were doing it. eBay wasn't the first auction site. It wasn't the second, wasn't even the third auction site on the internet. eBay was the one that kicked it up a notch and made it to the top. Google wasn't the first search engine. Google wasn't the second search engine. Google wasn't even the third, fourth, fifth, or sixth search engine. It wasn't even the seventh, wasn't the eighth. Google came late to the picture. And look where they are now. They own YouTube, they own multiple websites and businesses and so forth. Because they kicked it up a notch. They started paying people for helping them. That's how Google became so powerful, grew so big. They came late to the race. There were a lot of horses that way far ahead of them, many furlongs ahead. And Google came from behind. Why? Because they had paid the people who helped them out. They still do to this day. That's why so many people are loyal to Google. Because Google pays for the privilege. People are getting paid for posting videos on YouTube and so forth. Look at the guy who created Facebook. He wasn't the first social media. He actually took if you watch the movie they made about it, he stole somebody else's idea. Please do something with yourself. For the scammers out there, like I said, there is no excuse. I previously mentioned, Arianna Huffington, she sold her blog last year, and, please look up how much money she sold that for, because you're not going to believe me. If I tell you, I'll show you, or, you have to look it up yourself. She sold it for many, 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 many millions of dollars. Like I said, you have to be seated and you have to be wearing socks. Because if you're not seated and you're not wearing socks, you're going to lose control of your bowels when you find out how much money she sold that blog for. I am not a blog master in the least. But I'm making so much money from the blogs I do have, and I'm also making money helping people set up blogs. There's people making thousands of dollars a month helping people set up YouTube channels. There's people who design YouTube backgrounds. They're making hundreds of dollars a week, sometimes hundreds of dollars a day. There is something that you know that somebody else does not know that they're willing to pay you for. I am a featured speaker at conventions across the country, and I don't know how to speak English. Plain and simple. And I get paid to stand up on a stage and talk about various subjects that I'm considered an expert in. There's people far better than me in every single one of those fields, except maybe one or two. That's no brag, that's a fact. They need somebody to get up on the stage, give a lecture, give a presentation, to do something, to make the convention interesting, to make people want to come back the next year. And somehow I get invited to come back again and again. Yes, I create a presentation, but sometimes I pay somebody else to create the presentation. I pay people thousands of dollars to create a presentation for me. Some of these people did it in one day, in a couple of hours. Some of these people are so talented. Sometimes, we can click and we can get the message across and boom, boom. They made a lot of money in just a couple of days. You have to do something. Set up blogs for people. You just, do, like I said, set up YouTube channels for people. People want to get online. People want to make an income from YouTube. You could help find a future YouTube star. They will pay you for the privilege. I think I've pretty much covered everything and nothing at the same time. I just wanted to show you the top story of 2012, the top success story of 2012, and perhaps of all time. A 7th grade dropout, 12 years old. Come on, you can do better. He's no Albert Einstein. Did you ever talk to Arianna Huffington? Did you know that she was born in the United States and that accent of hers is bogus? It's fake. She was a socialite wannabe who married a rich man, and then that's how she became a socialite. She used a fake accent to fool everybody. In closing, like I said, I could go on for hours and hours and hours and hours. In closing, I wanted to say, before the economy gets any worse than it is now, before the money turns into this, I encourage you to do something other than what you're doing now. The situation is bad out there. Yes, it is getting worse. It's not getting better anytime soon. And maybe one day you could post a video on YouTube. You could, put something on your blog stating that, how successful you were, and then you could maybe perhaps put a picture on your wall that you're going to be very proud of, sitting with $1 million on your desk. And believe you me, there's no better feeling in the whole wide world, except perhaps having $2 million on your desk. This has been the very first in the Top Story Productions 2012. And like I always say in closing, please dream big. If you're already dreaming big, please dream bigger, because sometimes some small dreams are definitely not worth having.